Happy Monday, everyone. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Hope you guys are doing well. Man, it's getting hot here in Las Vegas, Henderson, Nevada, but I am here bringing you that heat for the week to get you guys through. This is another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. We got a jam-packed show today. I got to get through in about 20, 25 minutes, maybe half an hour. We'll see how it goes. But hey, we got lots to talk about. I want to talk about Julian Edelman. He just recently retired from New England Patriots. I have some thoughts on that. I want to break down the Lakers and Nets game. What does that mean? Does it mean anything moving forward into the possible NBA Finals matchup? Also, Draymond Green again in hot water, this time with U.S. women's soccer. Yeah, that's interesting. And also, I do want to talk about Justin Fields, some of the criticism he's been getting as the days come up to the NFL draft. A lot of people are criticizing the young man. I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. And finally, tonight, Eddie George accepts the new head coaching football job at Tennessee State. What does that mean for HBCUs as far as athletics? And what does that mean for college sports? I have some strong opinions on that as well. But without further ado, man, let's just get into the show. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Man, let's go. What's up? The Scoop joined New Channel Sports. What's up, my guys? Hope you guys are doing well. All right, welcome in, everyone. If you are watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys drop a like and a comment and share, man. I appreciate you guys for that. And like I said, if you're watching on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, make sure you leave a comment or question below, man. I will get to that for sure throughout the course of the show. Also, if you're watching on those channels as well, if you see below the ticker that's scrolling, those are all my social media pages that you can check out. Right now, I'm making a push for YouTube. I'm trying to get to that 100, but I need your help. So tell everybody, tell your mama, your daddy, your baby mama, your baby daddy, anybody that's alive that has a pulse, tell them subscribe to my YouTube channel tonight. Takes 2 seconds. Subscribe, hit that notifications link, and you guys will get everything updated Clutch Sports Talk related. Yes. So with that said, let's get into the show, shall we? All right. So Julian Edelman retired today, actually. Played over a decade in New England. Is he a Hall of Famer? Well, some people might think so, and more than likely that'll be New England Patriot fans, but solid player nonetheless. Played so many years with Tom Brady. Hell of a player. One of the greatest slots that I've seen during my era of watching football. Has finally hung him up. Now, he had a video that was posted to his Twitter social media feed, I believe. He kind of explained the reasoning behind him retiring. A lot of injuries, especially the last couple of years. And he just was like, you know what? It's just time for me to go. But I will say this, that if you watched it, I feel like there was something that was said, and maybe some of you caught it who watched his Twitter feed. He says, I'll leave you with 2 words. Teams are what's up? Foxborough forever. Interesting. Why would he say that? Well, I was on a phone call not that long ago today with a good friend of mine, and he brought this up to my attention that it possibly might be a shot at Tom Brady. Well, why do we say that? Well, Tom Brady, as for those of you who don't know, left the Patriots after 20-something seasons as a Patriot, went to Tampa Bay, won the Super Bowl. We all know what happened, right? He didn't retire. He said, you know what? I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go win another championship in Tampa Bay. Julian Edelman decided, I'm going to hang him up. I'm going to be a Patriot. I've been a Patriot. I'm going to die a Patriot, and that's what I'm going to say. So he said, Foxborough forever. And to me and my friend, we both looked at that as like, well, yeah, that's a shot. That's a direct shot at Tom Brady. And they might be cool. They might be boys, and it might be love or whatever at the end of the day. But it definitely will ring bells around Patriots and Foxborough Nation, because he decided, you know what? My career is over. Instead of trying to go and play somewhere else, chasing a championship, why not just hang him up as a Patriot? And if you watch the Twitter feed or his retirement speech or whatever you want to call it, he really shouted out the Patriot fans and the faithful and how much that they really appreciate him, and his family appreciated the love that was shown his way. But definitely he's like Foxborough forever. Now, a couple months from now, maybe he gets a phone call from Tom Brady, like, hey man, come down to Tampa. Then the whole scenario changes. Maybe he's like, you know what? I might want to do that. We saw Gronk do it. We saw, he come out of retirement. So, but I definitely feel like that was a dig at Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, he's so powerful. He doesn't care. Honestly, he might care. I don't know. But it goes to show in sports that there is some loyalties still left in the sports industry. Like Julian Edelman, could he probably still play? He probably could. If he goes at it 100% in rehab, could he go and play at another team? Could he possibly play with Tom Brady? Yeah, he absolutely could. But I think for him, the love that he was shown in Foxborough, he just said, you know what? I can't go nowhere else. I played 12 seasons as a Patriot. What would it look like for me to leave and go somewhere else? So to me, I think that is a slight. I think that is a slight at Tom Brady. Now, the question that I want to ask you too, that me and my friend were talking about, he posed this question, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section. He posed this question: if you were Robert Kraft, from a personal standpoint and a professional standpoint, would you be okay with Tom Brady when he does decide to hang him up? Would you be okay if he wanted to retire as a Patriot? And I asked my friend, I said, you know what? Honestly, given what I know about the situation, the relationship between Robert Kraft and Tom Brady, I would say personally, I would be all right. Now, it does suck that he left him to go win somewhere else. But me personally, I feel like the history behind them is a little thicker than him just leaving. There might be some other reasons, but I would say, you know what? But my friend also said, too, for him, it's about loyalty. And loyalty does mean everything. Don't get me wrong. I would like to consider myself a loyal person. And I definitely would have to think about that particular stance as far as like, no, I wouldn't want you to come back and retire Patriot because you're having your cake and eating it too. And that's exactly what Tom Brady is essentially doing. He left the New England Patriots, headed over down south to Tampa, won a Super Bowl, and eventually he's going to retire. And yes, he's going to want to retire as a New England Patriot because why? He spent over 20 seasons, if not 20 seasons, as a New England Patriot. So just something to think about, and we got already a comment section going on. He says, William Flowers says, I think he's saying that he's not coming out of retirement. I agree. I think Julian Edelman, from what we know from him, pretty stand-up individual. I think he means his word. I think he says Foxborough forever. He's not leaving. He probably end up staying there forever. So I don't see anything else coming from. But you never know, Tom Brady. He can call you up, man, and he can be like, look, it can be very enticing. No state tax. It's warmer down here in Florida. You don't have to deal with Bill Belichick and his, strict rules. You can come out here and do your thing, man, and win you another Super Bowl. But maybe for Edelman, he's got enough Super Bowl rings. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody else at this standpoint. So for him, he's just like, look, Tom kind of ditched us a little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot, and walked out. But I'm gonna be a true Patriot player and retire a Patriot because honestly, you don't see that a lot anymore in this day and age in the sports industry. So kudos to him, man. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, even if it is a shot. I'm not mad at it. I think it's healthy. I think it's legit. I think it's cool. So it is what it is. All right, moving on. Lakers and Nets squared off this past Saturday night on ABC. It was a matchup that a lot of people thought the Nets were just going to dominate. Everyone thought the Lakers were just, even including myself, I think the Lakers were just going to get destroyed. They're missing AD, they're missing LeBron. Drummond's coming off the toe injury. Kevin Durant's coming back. He's played pretty well. They still have Kyrie Irving. Harden didn't play. They still have Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, blah, 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 blah. From the jump, it was evident that two things. One, the Nets were not vested in that game at all. I don't think they really cared. That could be a possibility because of how it started. I think it just went really crazy. It went sideways fast for the Nets. I mean, the Lakers jumped on them. I think it was like 13-0 run or something like that in the beginning of the game. The other caveat is that the Lakers defense is actually pretty solid despite not having AD and LeBron. Now, does this mean anything? Now, I was watching another Good Friends podcast earlier today, Carving It Up podcast with Bryson Carver, and he said that it didn't really matter. Now, yes and no. Sometimes these matchups don't really mean anything, but I will say this. It did, at least for me, it showed me how the Lakers could potentially match up with the Nets. Now, for those who don't remember, these two played about a month ago, I would say maybe, in LA. and the Nets basically had their way. But the difference in that game was the 3-point shooting. And I remember vividly coming on my live, I think the next day or the day before or after, whatever, and said that the factor of that game was the 3-point shooting. Now the Nets were cold, ice cold. I think they only made like 5 3-pointers and they shot like 26 of them. Where the Lakers were on fire. I think they made like over 23s in a game. And that, to me, that was the big difference in that game. And also, not to mention, the defense of the Lakers is a lot more physical. The Lakers are they're rugged, they're physical. Now, don't get me wrong, AD can be a little finesse, but AD is a pretty, pretty strong, not pretty. He is a very great defender in the paint. LeBron can be really good too when he wants to be. Andre Drummond is not a slouch there as well. Dennis Schroeder can play defense. This team is built around defense at this point. And one thing I was saying, because my father and I were watching this game together, one thing I mentioned to him, I said, you know what? Here's the thing with the Lakers right now. They cannot get buckets. They don't have a guy right now literally that they can kind of go to. And fortunately for them on Saturday, Dennis Schroeder was the guy. Andre Drummond had a good game too as well. But in the last 10 games or so, I think or 11 games, they're like 5-6. And a lot of those games, they lost close. Why? Because they can't get buckets. But they've been slowing people down. They can play really solid defense. And I think right now they're 5th in the West. And if you're a team that's going to be matched up with them, you don't want to see them, man. You don't want to see the Lakers when AD's healthy, LeBron is back in full swing. Dennis Schroeder, he suffered a tailbone injury. The injuries have plagued this team. Andre Drummond gets a feel for the game. Now they will have a period where they're going to have to gel, because obviously AD and LeBron have not played with Andre Drummond, and they've never played with a guy kind of like Andre Drummond, who's a post player of sorts. LeBron is used to having guys spread out. His bigs can kind of shoot. Andre Drummond kind of isn't that guy, but we're going to have to wait and see. Now, as far as the Nets are not a great defensive team. I believe they're next to last or close. They're like in the bottom 5 of the NBA as far as defensive rating and efficiency. I can't think of any team that's won a championship that was that bad on defense. Now, there might have been some Laker teams way back when, I believe, probably in the mid-90s, that weren't that great. But I will say about those Laker teams, they did have Shaq and they did have Kobe, guys that were actually really good defenders. Now, you look at the Brooklyn Nets team now, who's their best defender? It's not DeAndre Jordan, because why? He's not getting the minutes. He's not getting the minutes right now. Kyrie Irving, not the greatest defender of all time. I mean, I know he had his spurts, but not anybody that you can really count on a consistent basis. We all know James Harden ain't guard nobody. That's evident from his time in Houston. And we also know Kevin Durant, if out of all of them, is probably their best defensive player, but given his hamstring problems, his injuries, who knows how capable he will be moving forward. So to me, they can score 140, but they'll give up 141. Now, a lot of us, including myself, probably were like a little bit too hesitant or like too hasty to kind of give them the championship. But watching that game, and I know James Harden didn't play, and I don't even count Blake Griffin or LaMarcus Aldridge at this point anymore. Blake Griffin is a shell of himself. I don't care what you say. He's not the same guy. I think they brought him on for the potential of maybe winning a game or two in a series. Now, Blake Griffin can go out there and still give you about 15, 20 points on one given night, depending, but he's not giving you that same energy every night. He's just not that guy. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge. Great player, great talent but he's on a decline. He's another guy, not going to play much defense. He might give you 10, 15 points a game, depending on the situation on who they're playing, but it really reverts back to the big three, Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And these guys have not even I think they've only played 7 games with each other. Only 7 games. So we've all seen teams that have kind of combined like that. You can even go back as early as the Heat team that first year where they made the finals, but they ended up losing to Dallas. They made it just on sheer talent alone. But when you play against another team that's well coached and is a team as a cohesive unit, you're not going to beat that, because great effort and skill will trump talent overall. I think in any sport, talent can get you so far, but when you're well coached and you understand the game, and I think that's where Brooklyn is at right now. I think for the most part, Brooklyn, to me, they don't have to really worry about anybody in the East. Do we really think that Philly's going to be a challenge to them? I don't think so. Do we think Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be a strong challenge? I doubt that. So if they don't make the finals, this is because they just totally choked. Now, when they run into the Lakers, because the Lakers, I think, will win the West. I think they are better than the Clippers still, and they will continue to get better as they get healthier. So that's just my thoughts on that. I feel better now about the Lakers situation. I really do. Just reading some comments here on Instagram right now. This is from this first segment before about Julian Edelman. We got the New Channel Sports. He said he should retire a Patriot in regards to Julian Edelman. A lot of quarterbacks, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Warren Moon, left to join other teams. Yeah, I guess that's a quarterback thing. Team Zamora also said that they left their teams when they were ready to move on. Patriots wanted Brady back. That's true. New Channel Sports. You know what? I will say about the Nuggets, adding Aaron Gordon does kind of help them because he can kind of match up with LeBron. But I still think overall in a 7-game series, the Lakers still will just be too much. But interesting take. I'm not all the way out on the Nuggets. I'm out on the Jazz and I'm out on the Phoenix Suns. I think those are cute stories. But overall, hey, what's up, Realist Cowboy? He's just joined the Instagram page. Make sure you guys are hopping over to on YouTube and subscribing right now. I'd appreciate that. But moving forward, I think the Lakers are still in a good position. Even if the Lakers finish the 8th seed, do the Jazz really want to play them? If they finish 7th, do the Suns want to play them? They don't. So, but the Nuggets, cute story. I have to kind of wait and see on them. But Aaron Gordon definitely was a good pickup for them. So moving forward, kind of sticking with the NBA a little bit. Draymond Green, again, just doing Draymond Green stuff. Now, we know this guy just says a lot. Now, he was in the news recently for some comments he made in regards to women's pay scale, especially in regards to the women's soccer. Now, Megan Rapinoe, who is one of the most leading, the prominent female soccer players that we have in this country for the great women's national team. I mean, absolutely great. I was watching them play the other night. But here's what he had to say. So basically, I'm kind of paraphrase here. He said, basically, Draymond Green says, they can easily tell y'all stories, but they don't have to because the requests that are being made are falling on deaf ears because y'all keep saying, pay me more with no way to drive the revenue. Force hands, page number 1, pick 2021, whatever that means. So Megan Rapinoe comes back and says, it's really unfortunate in having the position that Draymond Green has, having all the resources that he has, the ability to have a much more educated opinion that he just doesn't have. So here's the thing with this. All Even Podcast, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Here's the thing what I have to say about women's equality and pay and all that. And I'm just going to keep it real because that's what I'm here to do. I'm not going to pity pat around this because that would be BS to you guys watching. And you're not watching me because you want to hear BS. You get BS around you all the time. So here's the real deal. And I'll comment on Draymond Green and Megan Rapinoe. But here's my take. Now, as a father of a daughter who plays sports, she's involved in soccer, oddly enough. Women's sports, it's not that they can't play and they don't have the talent, because they do. They do. Yeah, I watch women's soccer. I watch a lot of women's sports, and they definitely have the skill that it takes. But here's the thing. When it comes down to business, and we're just purely focusing on the business aspect, they don't drive the revenue. Now, Draymond Green was very misinformed about saying that they haven't taken any action, because they actually have. Players like Megan Rapinoe have been actively in the community. I believe they even sued the U.S. women's soccer national team in order to get a pay raise. So they have taken action. So for him to say that they haven't taken action, he kind of missed the boat on that, which a lot of people do because they speak before they actually get the facts. So I've gotten the facts, and I will say is that, yes, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that some of these women, but they don't get paid the way, look at NBA players. You got guys that are like 12th on the depth chart, and they're still making 6 figures, $1 million, however, and they suck, or they don't suck. They're just not that great. And then you got superstars in women's sports that are still being paid, 6 figures. And is it fair? No, it's not fair, but it's the market value. If your sport or whatever you do does not drive in a certain amount of revenue, you're not going to get that revenue in return. And that's just business 101. Now, I went to college, but I didn't go to college on a business degree. I didn't get a business degree, but I have common sense. If you don't make a lot of money, you don't bring in sponsorships and advertisements and all this other stuff, it's not going to happen. And unfortunately, that's where we are in society. And sadly to say, we are in a society where it's better off for most women to go out and get an OnlyFans and make more money than women NBA players make, or women soccer players, because OnlyFans women, they're making millions of dollars to doing what? Stuff that basically objectifying themselves. And I'm not advocating that, but what I'm saying is this is where we are in society. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but the fact of the matter is, Draymond is wrong for saying that they're not taking action because he didn't know. And Megan Rapinoe, I get it. She's a women's soccer player, but it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. I don't think I can, if we've polled 10 people right now, and I'm not even trying to throw shade. If you ask 10 people right now, who won the women's WNBA championship? I don't think anybody can tell you that. I don't even think anybody can tell you who won the last Women's World Cup. It doesn't mean these people are sexist or chauvinist. It's just, this is where we are at in society. And unfortunately, that's just, and I mean, I keep saying unfortunately, but that's just what it is. And I think people just have to accept that. Now, I'm not saying they have to just lay down and just say, you know what, we're going to stand for this, or we're going to just lay down and just take it. I get it. You got to fight. You got to, if you're going to go out, you might as well go out fighting instead of just giving up. But, Draymond has a tendency of actually just not being really educated on a lot of stuff. And then, his response was kind of weird too. I don't even, when he even responded to what she said about him, it was kind of weird. He just was like, I'm trying to find the quote, but I was confused when I read it myself. But long story short, I think he's trying to be on the same page with her. He just didn't get the facts. It just is what it is. New channel says, was it the Comets? Yeah, who knows? With Cynthia Cooper, that's a long time ago. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But that's the exact example that's the exact example that I'm saying. Women's sports is not that relevant. Yeah, I mean, the March Madness, the Final Four women's was great, but at the point, who cares at that point anymore? No one cares. It was great in the moment, but who's gonna watch that now? No one's gonna be. I'm not gonna be talking about, oh yeah, next year, who won the national championship? I forgot even who won the national championship. Doesn't mean I don't like women's sports. It's just that it's not something that it's widely talked about, and that's all I'm saying. Oh, looked like we lost my camera. We got technical difficulties here. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. So anyway, moving on, man. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation, because more, and obviously men watch sports. That's a driving factor. And right now, more men are more inclined to watch women on OnlyFans. And I joke with this with some of my female friends that are colleagues that are not colleagues, but friends that I had. I'll be like, look, you're better off just starting an OnlyFans, man, if you want to go into business. And that's just where we're at. And it sucks that you got to do that. And jokingly, guys say that. And some of them be like, you're right, Ryan. I might have to start an OnlyFans because no one else cares. Honestly. So I don't know. We're going to keep it moving. But keep those comments going, everybody. So we're going to switch back to football. Justin Fields, been in the news a lot lately. Why? Not because of his, well, I would say it's because of his play, but because of some experts thinking that he is not the second best rated quarterback in this NFL draft. A lot of people have expressed that his work ethic isn't quite there. And a lot of people are really excited not excited, but they're more inclined to pick a Mac Jones over Justin Fields. And I take precedent. I mean, it really bothers me when people are just saying, oh, Mac Jones. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But Dan Orlovsky, who's a commentator for ESPN, he was on the Pat McAfee show, and he made some comments in regards to his work ethic, and people got on him, and he ended up apologizing, whatever, because that's what we do now. Once you feel pressure, you got to apologize. But what I don't agree is with this kid's work ethic. Like, if that's the only thing we have, I mean, look, the guy was a finalist in 2019 for a Heisman, another finalist for this year, if I'm not mistaken. I know Mac Jones was in the mix, but they having guys like Trey Lance over him. Everybody else, Zach Wilson. I mean, don't get me wrong. Has any quarterback from Ohio State panned out the last couple of tries? No, they haven't. And we still don't know what's going on with Dwayne Haskins. But Justin Fields, man, is a beast. And anybody would land him right now would definitely be happy in his services. Now, Stephen A. brought up a good point when it comes to black quarterbacks. And we do see this a lot. And I might be controversial here for some of you, but I'm going to just stay with me, all right? Stay with me. Black quarterbacks are probably the most scrutinized players in all of sports because typically blacks should not play quarterback. That's just what the NFL has told us for years. That's just what we have. You've had guys like legendary players like Warren Moon who had to go to Canada to go and play, then finally get his shot to play in the NFL, and he becomes a Hall of Famer. Guys like Randall Cunningham. You look at Lamar Jackson, who was asked to be a wide receiver if he was drafted. And look, he won an MVP. Now, I'm still not a big fan of Lamar Jackson, but still, he can still play at a high level. He won the MVP. And I feel like Justin Fields, they're not even questioning his ability on the field. They're questioning his work ethic. And it's like, how dare you? How dare you do this to this young man? A guy who was one of the forefront people of actually getting college football started up, helped start a petition. And he didn't have to do that because regardless if he played this season or not, he was definitely going to be a high draft pick. Okay. So if you want to challenge his work ethic or question that, the fact of the matter, he wanted to play when he didn't have to speaks volumes. And I feel like black quarterbacks don't get the just due. And if you look at it now, man, some of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback that we have in this league, are African American, and even the upcoming ones. The world is changing. African Americans can play the quarterback position. It's obvious, but I still think there's a stigma that you have to elevate guys that are really not that good. I mean, they're talking about Kyle Trask moving in front of this guy, Mac Jones moving in front of this guy. It's like, how? Did you not see the guy play? Yeah, I get it. You know, he didn't have the greatest end of the season as far as his regular season, but look how he played against Clemson, man, on a bruised rib. I mean, really. So when you get, and you guys like Dan Orlovsky, when he's making these statements, it's like, dude, what did you do? I know you played in the NFL, but you sucked. You sucked. And here you are sitting and questioning his work ethic. You've never been in that guy's position. Never. And here you are questioning him. And a lot of people, it's not just him, it's a lot of people. But the fact of the matter is that Justin Fields is a player. And if the Jets pass him up and take Zach Wilson, I would say they're foolish. They're foolish. But again, I think a lot of these GMs and a lot of the NFL is still low-key racist. I would say that because they don't feel a black quarterback should be taken that high. And you even look at when black quarterbacks get paid. You look at what happened with Dak Prescott recently. How was it a great contract? No, it wasn't a great contract, but put that aside. Some people were so up in arms, but no one cared when Carson Wentz got paid or Jared Goff got paid. And Jared Goff, Carson Wentz made it to the Super Bowl, but he didn't win the Super Bowl. Why is it a big problem when Dak wants to get paid? You know, is race involved? I don't know. It might be, but when you see stuff like this on a kid that he's a beast. He's a hard worker. And not only is he a beast, he could have played baseball. And this is why I think he will be a great pro, because a lot of football players that played baseball are really good, especially at the quarterback position. Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. These guys all have a baseball background. And I think baseball players translate to great football quarterbacks in the NFL. So I don't want to hear this stuff about Justin Fields not being up to par. And Mac Jones, not taking credit away from him, but it's like, come on, man. Justin Fields been doing this a minute, and he hasn't been doing it with guys like Henry Ruggs or Devontae Smith and guys like that. Like, get out of here with that. Justin Fields can play. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But don't question his work ethic, because that's the only thing that you can actually pinpoint on him. And it's not even true, because there's people coming out of Ohio State who said that, no, the guy does work. He works harder than anybody. And because here's what I want out of a quarterback before I move on. Number one, you got to be smart. You got to be smart. If you're dumb, I don't want you as a quarterback. I don't care if you got a cannon of arm. It doesn't matter to me. If you're dumb, I don't want you, because I can get by you not having a great arm. But if you're smart, I want you. I want my quarterbacks in the film room, not in the gym. Okay. You got to be a great decision maker. Right now, some people question his mechanics. It is what it is. I get all that. But at this point, it's like, okay, it's like really anybody can say they got mechanical issues. But if you put him in the right system, put him with the right quarterback, I think he can actually do something, especially in the current stage of the NFL. Your quarterback has to be athletic. And guys like Mac Jones, to me, are not that athletic. It just depends on the situation that he has to go to, man. But maybe I'm off base, man. You let me know what you guys think, man. Because really, Justin Fields, I feel like should be the second pick in this quarterback job, but he probably won't. He'll probably slide to 4 because Mac Jones might get taken by the Niners, and the Niners are going to be like, damn, probably should have took Justin Fields. So anyway, all right, wrapping up tonight, man. And thank you guys for being in the room, man. Eddie George recently named the head football coach of Tennessee State University. Now, he doesn't have any football coaching experience, not that I know of, so it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for him. But here's what I want to say about this. So much right now we see people saying stuff for clout, especially on social media. I mean, you see it on TikTok, you see it on Instagram, anywhere that people can make social posts, you see it. People talking about equality and Black Lives Matter, and even the NBA was like, oh, we want to support the HBCUs, and it's like, okay, that's all great talk. I want to shout out Eddie George, and even before Eddie George, Deion Sanders. They are actually making a difference. They are going in and taking on jobs. HBCUs are not in the best situation right now. A lot of them are not well funded. A lot of them have lost their accreditation. And what that means is that they've lost their ability to actually teach. If you had a degree from some of these universities, it's like you might as well just wipe your butt with it because it's no better than toilet paper. They have taken on a challenge, especially guys like Prime going to Jackson State and now Eddie George going to Tennessee State and building something. When we had segregation in this country, yeah, it sucked. But I also feel, and I didn't grow up in segregation, but from what I gathered and from what I read over my 37 years on this earth, it almost feels like, and this might sound really stupid to some of you, but hear me out. I feel like segregation was one of the best things that could happen to the Black community. And I say this why? Because it brought the community together. Now with so many options for young college athletes, a lot of colleges, if they have to pick between Tennessee State and Alabama, guess what? They're going to go to Alabama. But I think with guys like Eddie George, who are reputable guys who played Hall of Fame level kind of guys like Deion Sanders, they're coming back to black college. Black colleges were this. I mean, before blacks can play in Division 1A programs, they had to play in black colleges. You think of guys like Shannon Sharp, Too Tall Jones, Jerry Rice, Hall of Famer, and there's other guys that are out there. Max Gilliam, he played for Tennessee State, if I'm not mistaken. He was a backup for Terry Bradshaw back in those days. Great talent has come out of the black college HBCU community. And I'm so glad that guys have taken on the challenge. They're not just talking about it. They're actually doing something about it. Deion Sanders could have easily probably gone somewhere and coached somewhere. But he said, no, I'm going to go to a black college. He didn't play there. He played at Florida State. And he's building something there. Jackson State will be a good football program. And I believe Tennessee State is on that same path. They're going to be able to get kids that maybe the Alabamas overlooked. Or maybe some kids might be like, you know what, man, I'd rather just go here because I feel more comfortable. So I'm tired of people talking about stuff. And when I see guys like this, they're actually doing stuff. And to me, that's where I'm at with a lot of this stuff with people, the cancel culture at this point in time. It's like, what are we doing about stuff? And these guys are actually doing stuff. They're speaking it into existence. And I'm all for that. So Eddie George, shout out to you, man. I hope it works well. Hopefully he gets a good staff behind him because I know he has no head coaching experience whatsoever. So hopefully it works out for him. But he's definitely taking matters into his own hands. And hopefully other people will follow suit. And hopefully other top college athletes will say, you know what? Why not just go there? Why not stay home? Why not play at a Jackson State or a Tennessee State? But I'm all for that. And I think that it's definitely a move that's putting us in the right direction, especially as the African-American community is concerned. It almost feels like our best athletes are being fapped out to these other schools, like whatever, and I get it. You want to play at the Oregons, you want to play at Alabama, Clemson's and all that. But why not resurrect an institution that was for quite some time was legit. Steve McNair, guys like that. There's been a lot of guys that have come through those black colleges, man, that can play. And honestly, if you played at a black college, guys like Shannon Sharp, like they've had so much on their shoulders because they had to be so good. Why? Because if they suck, they're not going to go back there. Scouts are not going to go back there. So, like I said, shout out to them. It really fills my heart that these guys are doing that. And I think it's good. And I mean, I didn't go to a black college, but I see a lot of guys talking about, HBCUs, but it's like anybody can wear a sweatshirt or put on a hat. But these guys are actually talking about it and they're doing something about it. And that's what I like. I'm about that action, boss. And that's what these men are doing. And now if I had an opportunity to do it all over again, I probably would try to go to a black college. So, but anyway, that's my show for tonight, man. I hope you guys had a good time, man. We got through this. Just under 35 or under 35 minutes, man. But make sure you guys head over to YouTube right now after the show is concluded. Subscribe to my channel, please. I'm trying to get to that 100 subscribers here by the month's end, and I need you guys' help. So without further ado, man, hope you guys enjoyed the show. You can catch my next show live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram Live. So without that, that's it. I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Be safe out there, man. This is Cut Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. God bless, guys. Peace. Clutch Sports Talk Live is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go.